Ladies and gentlemen, chess is super hard. And a way to make life easier is to follow a few steps. And these steps in chess, when you have the move, are understanding your opponent's plan, especially with the last move he made, understanding your own plan, where do the pieces belong, what do you want to do, and calculation. In the end, where you calculate your way through what the best move is. So with that in mind, we'll play a game. And we'll try with a try in, parentheses or whatever to distill that. So the opening is mostly just theory, and the most played opening there is e4. And we're gonna play main line theory here, at least as much as I know. And knight f3 is just a good developing move, just for the center. We're gonna play d4, which is mostly played in over the board games, and we'll take. So I don't study Sicilians. I have no clue what this variation is, but my opponent probably doesn't know either. And we'll just see, okay, what's his plan? There's not really any concrete plans now. What is our plan? We should probably develop, that's also his plan. And yeah, so from this point on, I'm out of theory. I have to logically assess the situation. And my plan is just developing. His plan is possibly to develop. And I don't see any concrete lines where this queen will, checkmate me or take pieces out of the blue. So the only thing where I see calculating, things, forcing lines with either checks, captures, or threats are just a capture here, which doesn't benefit me, and attack on the queen, which doesn't really make sense as I'm moving a piece twice in the opening, but it's definitely something I can keep considering here. So that's nice to have. I will just play knight c3, knight f6, let's just say bishop e2, e6, bishop e3, something like that, and I assess this as equal. And I think I would just go for this line. It's a very intuitive line. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. So knight f6, let's say bishop e3 or this. Okay, a5. So now we'll try to understand this move. a5, what could the intention be? You could play a4. There's also an option for him to play b3, and then you have more options for this bishop to develop. But in and of itself, it doesn't do that much. And a4 is not something I'm scared of, as that's basically what this move does. It allows maybe a4 to happen, and you might play it. But we'll continue with what I calculated to be a good line. Bishop e2. I can also just develop it to bishops to c4, more active. I like bishop e2, just simple. And again, I assess that this doesn't really make sense. Okay, I actually didn't do this. I should do it every move, but I don't think the position has changed that much that taking here would make any more the difference. So yeah, lazy on my part, but whatever. I said at the beginning of the video I will try to do it. I like some things in life. So bishop e2, maybe knight f6 now. You will finally develop. That's something you do in the opening. And throughout the game, develop your pieces to better squares. So he plays bishop e6. Maybe, so we're trying to understand again. The most prominent move here would be to play bishop here. I'm not really scared of that, as this will not be it's a pin. It is not a pin if I castle. So by automatically assessing what my opponent wants to do, I can kind of already play against and just castle without any calculation here. I can also do it with calculations, so castles, bishop e4, bishop e2, or maybe even... Now I was thinking about knight d5 ideas, but this is not possible. where if my queen was on e2, then it would maybe be possible. But this is for another day. This is some stupid things I sometimes see. Alright, bishop e2, e7, sorry. Again, this doesn't really make much sense. Maybe we get this opened up for the queen, but it's nothing really concrete. So I'm just going to continue development. Bishop e3 seems logical. Just very logical moves here. The attack. Ooh, now maybe this is good actually. So let's say knight b5. So I assess that this is not something that's great. Checks are not present, but this threat of knight b5, either knight, but this one is probably better because this one is sitting very solidly defended by a pawn, and this one is just a bit loose. It's defended by pieces, and pieces could move around, and then I will lose this knight. So let's say knight b5. I'm already attacking. If he goes queen d8, I can go here, check. He has to take. I have a queen on d6. It looks very pleasant for me. I have a very active queen. That looks very nice. But if he goes to b8, again, knight of 6. You see how fastly I divert from my thinking. It doesn't really do all that much. It attacks a pawn, it's just defended. But knight b5, queen b8. And then I don't have much to show for this maneuver. And I cannot really follow up with this because then it just takes and takes. I'm down a queen. A queen. So yeah, as you can see, it takes a lot of time. That is why not everyone does every move consciously, and it doesn't always pay off. It's sometimes you end up in a dead spot where queen b8 is just solid. So what else can we do? Well, we can grab more space with f4, potentially go for e5. Bishop f3 is a plan, potential move. Queen d2 is a move. Bringing the rooks, centralizing. Just simple chess. I think the most simple way to go forward is to play queen d2. Queen d2 allows the rooks to be connected. This is something you do in the opening. We're just following basic rules of the Russian school of chess, and now you can centralize the rooks. That makes sense. But his plan now would be probably to play d5, and after takes, wait, d5 takes, and this pawn is just good there. So the position is roughly equal. I don't see anything great. Maybe we're a smidget better. You might be a smidget better. But in case he plays d5, maybe it's better for me to play e5. So the most natural move here would be rook a to d1, just centralizing the rooks. But because I see his plan of maybe playing d5, I'm feeling like I should play f4 now, so I can play e5 in that position, if that makes any sense. So let's play it. And I don't see a way for him to exploit the fact that I make these weaknesses here. He plays bishop here, which he could have placed much earlier. And his intention here is to grab here, and after I grab back, grab this pawn. So with that in mind, the move comes very naturally when we play e5. We grab more space. Now I see this open diagonal, so my bishop could go here. And he does that. So if I take, you could take the queen, and I take, and it's 2 pieces for a queen, and that's probably not good. There's also this tension here. After take, still nothing too crazy happening there. So I think it's best to just keep defending this, because it's only defended once and attacked twice, but moving out of this scope. And the only move here would then be this move. Notice that for him, if he takes, it doesn't really change the scenario. We now are threatening to take here, if he doesn't do anything. And if we do ever manage to take here, we could consider checks here. So the rule of thumb with calculation is checks, captures, and threats. We take with the pawn, obviously, not with the queen, then we could lose the queen. So that doesn't make any sense. And now our knight is protected. So we're also kind of assessing all the changes that happen. We're analyzing the position. And moving forward, I would like to make use of this, but I'm not sure what's the quickest way to do that. My first instinct would say play queen e4 so I can put the bishop here, which makes sense, which takes 2 moves. But what we also can do is place the rook like this. This also makes sense. So let's see. And for him, what are his options? Well, he doesn't really have much plan. He doesn't have much space. His bishop is trapped. So we're really wondering on how he would defend, how he's planning to defend. And one way of defending is playing f5. Let's say if I manage to play this, so let's say queen e4, maybe e5 already, f5 already. We take en passant. He takes back with the bishop, and we play this, and he plays g6. Well, g6 is already a super weakening move, you could imagine. So I don't see why that would be bad. So I don't think queen e4 is such a bad move. But is rook f3 maybe better? That's the question. So rook f3, threatening to go here. What can he do? He could play something like b5. No, that's not possible. Maybe b6. Maybe play something like h3. Seeing that seems more logical, seeing that this is coming. And we play this anyways. Let's say he just makes a waiting move, rook e8. We can play f5 maybe. Well, f5 weakens this pawn. This is also not good, perhaps. So this is a lot less concrete to my feeling. What we also could do is just develop another piece. That's the simple way. So we could either attack, go for mate, something like this. I don't like this all too much. It's a bit slow, it's a bit unconcrete. Yeah, it's actually not so easy to pick. So let's just keep it super simple. Let's just place the queen here. And if we place f5, he's weakening his king a little bit. The safety of the king. This diagonal would be a little bit open. I think this is the way to go. And as for this, h6 is not such a weakness, I assessed. So I think I'm just gonna go for this attack. Maybe it's just better to play like a rook move anywhere. But for now, I like this. I'm not worrying about the knight because I'm very happy about this pawn. Even though these pawns are doubled, in the end game, it's a very liability-ish thing to have these isolated double pawns. But now it's fulfilling a great task of defending the knight. My knight, very stable because it defended by a pawn and cannot be attacked by any pawns at the moment. My worst piece, definitely the rook, but he has 1, 2, 3 bad pieces. You could potentially say 4. Maybe 5. Okay, so he plays d6. Maybe he wants to play this afterwards. Okay, and if we take... we have take. And this is attack twice. He gets some activity along his lines. Not good. This take doesn't make sense either, I guess. Then you keep the pawn. I'd much rather let him take if he ever wants to. This check doesn't make sense because I lose the queen, but this does make sense. And now ff, yeah. Now he's almost obligated to play g6. And he has some dark square weaknesses. If he plays this, you can imagine these squares are a bit weak. It's not really good defended. You know, if a pawn moves, it weakens the squares around it. If that makes sense. Like, imagine this bishop not being here, and if he moves this pawn, we could already take this pawn. So we're the ones attacking, which also seems like it. And he's playing f4. Okay, great. So now we take en passant. And after he captures, we can just take here. And if he goes here, we give another check. And I just judge this position to be super winning. Super winning. It cannot be worse than this. Because look at this. This is also open. Attack twice. This is open. Attack twice. This must be good. I don't even need to calculate this. And this is the effect of a pawn move. G6 was much better. We place it now. But now he just loses that. We could even start with this. And we are threatening all sort of things. Let's even do that. We don't even need to take. And he wants to chat. I don't like passant. Oh, he forgot about en passant. Oh no. That's really sad. That's really sad. Sorry, mates. Alright. Oh, I can chat. So, yes, we could have taken there, but we could also just attack. And notice that if he takes back, let's say this comes and it's not a check, then he could just move away. But this, if he recaptures like this, you capture with a check. He could move the rook, but it doesn't really matter. Well, maybe it does. No, it doesn't. So yeah, our opponent taking a think, as he should have probably done it earlier. But this is also a lot what happens. Let's just take, when you see your opponent is low on time, a lot of people have the tendency to play faster, but what you actually should do in certain positions is play slower. So let's take the bishop now. So what you can see is we're simplifying the position. That's basically what we're doing. He doesn't even take. That's interesting. And look at this. There is still a pin here. Maybe you could utilize it. Is there any checks? No. Can we take this? No. Can we take this? It doesn't really make sense. Can we take this? Takes, block. Whoa. And all of a sudden, you're full of ideas. So even the dumb looking moves, takes, and if he blocks, we can take here. And I didn't even see this up until now. What a great technique. And I should calculate that if takes here, that we're still good. But this is basically how it goes. We look at his plan. Okay, he's planning to take here. Okay, yeah. So maybe bishop here is not so good. Let's take here. Yeah, and you come up with these combinations. You can play them automatically almost. Let's see what can we do here. We can give another check. We check the checks first, apparently here, and now we give this, and this is mate. This, whoa. Okay. And this basically happened by following these steps of understanding your opponent moves, understanding what your plan is, and then starting to calculate. And calculating goes in the order of checks. And if you give a check, you can never give what's called pots, where your opponent doesn't have any move anymore and it's a draw. So checks, captures, threats, pawn breaks or pawn moves, where you push a pawn, and then positional moves, where you're basically trying to execute a sort of idea. And I'm, as you could see, not an expert at it, but by simply going through two or all of the steps, not every move, maybe it's not really realistic as you look at my time consumption, but we definitely had a good game there. We now have reached 1500. Let's go very, very quickly through the game, as I don't really want to be confronted with all my mistakes. So, okay, let's adjust this. Okay, it's not analyzing, so we'll analyze by hand. Yeah, engine doesn't really work today, huh? That's fine, we don't need it. So let's see, e4, c5. It's a Sicilian. d4, we break, and here we can already feel some tension, but this is not beneficial. If he would take, he would just recapture towards the center, which is a principle. And you can see that the engine doesn't like, well, it's just equal, it doesn't really benefit us. And this tension was there the whole game, and we also sort of the whole time concluded that this trade would not necessarily benefit us. So knight c3, which is a fine move. a4, maybe not the best move. And we considered knight d to b5 here. We couldn't really see why this would be beneficial, as you could just... Did I even analyze it in this position? But this thread was apparently very good. Why? There was another thread here, double threads. And this is apparently unstoppable. That's actually very instructive. And you can see that the knights are super strong in the opening, as all the pawns are still on the board. That's why you developed them earlier than bishops. So let's see. a4, I missed this or this. Both were just great moves. Bishop e2, still a good move. So e6, I think this is still on the board, probably. No, it's not, because now knight e5 is not possible. So castles, we're just developing. I don't want to be confronted too much with all the... Well, we should probably. So castles, bishop e7, very passive. And he later moves this to here, which actually cost him a move, if that makes any sense. So that's not really good. Bishop e3. And as you can see, we're moving almost all pieces only once in the opening, putting it on just good squares. Bishop, queen d2. We also considered something like f4 in this position, which could also be good. It's a matter of style, I guess. So yeah. So queen d2, just very normal stuff. And here we went for f4, I'm quite sure. We also considered rook ad1, but after d5, actually the engine likes rook ad1, but after d5 takes. I was judging this position to be fairly equal. I didn't really like, even though the engine likes it, I don't really like it, and it's more. I am the one playing chess, so I assume that I could choose variations here. So f4 looks a lot more aggressive. It is. And here, threatening to take the pawn, so we played e5, which the engine disliked. And we didn't even consider actually knight here, which is a threat which we forgot to consider. So that's too bad on my part. And if he goes like something to queen d8, putting the queen on the worst square and then play e5, let's say knight e5. What's the difference? I don't get it. a3. And if it takes, now we can reach capture with the knight. I think that's it. Yeah, and our pawn structure wouldn't be ruined, which did happen in our situation. This is why it says 0.8 instead of 1.8. So that's a misplay by me, by not finding this move. Yeah, earlier we now still have a slightly better position, but just not a great position. Again, knight b5, a threat, is the best move. We did not find it. We found it earlier. I said before, it could be a nice resource. Did not find it, unfortunately. And we went for a simple positional move, actually. So we skipped some steps here. And bishop d4. Again, engine really likes knight b5. It just keeps appearing because the queen has to move back. It's a very passive queen. You improve the position of the knight. The knight is actually untouchable, I just realized. So yeah, but we didn't play this. We played bishop d3. And g6 probably would have been the best move. And our opponent collapsed by playing f5. And after en passant, yeah, he just completely collapsed. By the way, we could have captured the bishop, but look for better. When you see a great move, it's too easy. You can look for better, and knight takes on e6 is actually the best move here. After takes, rook f7 takes here, and if we went for something with this pin, there was rook takes on the e8, e7, and then, okay, we're still better, but this is not going to plan. We could just move the queen and still maintain the pin, so this would still be a great move actually. I thought it would not be a great move. I stopped calculating after this. Okay, that's a good instructional point where you can even play queen f6, just be annoying. Wow. Where I just have to keep calculating. Wait, queen takes, queen f6, rook takes here. Whoa. And then rook ae1. Takes. Oh, you're threatening mate, and if you stop it, you have mate here. Wow. So you have to stop it like this, and then can you play this? Is this a move? Wow. Oh wait. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's stop exploring. Well, we shouldn't normally. So h takes g, check. Oh yeah, here we found this move. Bishop takes on g6. Very nice tactical motif. And after h6 we just take here. But this is found through, well, more tactical analysis. And yeah, a very nice mate. Very nice mate. I didn't even realize when we gave mate that this was mate. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next game. We'll try to continue this way of thinking.